Okay, hello, good morning. Yes, so feeling better today. Well, I'm not sure how much better I actually feel because I'm still tired. It's really difficult to like find a way to get enough sleep because you want to be supportive of the whole family, but at the same time, like you need enough sleep, and then it's always a struggle. So I don't feel like super rested, but just I'm forcing myself to get up at 6 in the morning now. And what that helps me with is I get like typically like I'm not woken up by our oldest screaming, wake up, pushing me. Like that's the worst way to wake up. So it gives me some sense of control. And I get time to like clean the kitchen and stuff. For some reason, that's really important to me to have a clean kitchen. And yeah, so and so I think I'm like, if something bad happens, like I'm right down back there, like everything's just shit. But this doesn't happen at work. That's the thing. Like, so if I get through the morning and nothing like bad happens that makes me like upset, because there's so little. Like typically, it's really hard to get me out of balance. But if I don't get enough sleep, it's like, I guess that's for everyone. If I don't get enough sleep, like nothing, just one little hiccup and everything's like shit. Um, but yeah, but when I get through like the morning and everything's good, like today, and even though I'm like fragile because I don't have enough sleep, like bad things doesn't happen at work. I don't get in a bad mood, or I don't get like kicked out of balance by stressful things happen at work, because that's more of a challenge. Um, so that doesn't like tip me over. But what does tip me over if is at home. So if I have a bad morning, I bring that to work. And that happened yesterday. Like I was supposed to, I stopped the stream. I was supposed to get some sleep, and when I lie down, my girlfriend is calling me because she had to run off because the baby was screaming outside, and she forgot or she didn't have time to turn off the oven, so I had to go down and turn off the oven. And then I get back up and I try to sleep a little bit more, and then suddenly the other baby call was out of range because my girlfriend had gone on a stroll with the baby, and it was like screaming, so I had to run down again and then try to get up and get some sleep, and like everything was just shit yesterday. And then I bring this stuff to work, and it was and typically like just coding, everything's good. And then we got into this, like we're doing some really complex stuff at Code Sandbox now, and I'm like in the middle of high level thinking, strategy, product stuff, and also trying to go down to where we implement and actually try to make something work. And like for the 2 last weeks, I tried to focus more on getting stuff to work and help out with that. But like I'm moving up and down all the time, and it can be that in general can be a bit difficult in terms of context switching. But yeah, yesterday it started off, and it was like a really interesting, fun conversation to have. But then I got really defensive. Like I had good arguments. It's just the way I conveyed them. And yeah, so the conversation started like super nice, and then like I made it like a really bad thing. And of course I said sorry, and I gave my reasons for being like super tired, and yeah, being self-reflective on that. But it's, yeah, but at the same time, like we do this all the time. Like we feel really bad bringing our personal life to work. We don't often feel that bad about bringing our work struggles into family life, right? Um, that's interesting. But yeah, it's unavoidable. Like this happens. Anyways, I had to get that off my chest. I'm going to have a demo today at work. I don't like calling it work. I'm going to stop saying work because it doesn't feel like work at Code Sandbox. And we're going to have a demo of some new stuff we're building. And we're kind of past all the environment architecture stuff, and we're actually implementing the product now. And part of that is the architecture we're using, and that's what we've been using here on the stream. It's a React States architecture. So I wanted to give like a rundown for everyone at a high level what it's all about. So I thought I would kind of just run with it with you now. And I'm going to skip a couple of parts because it's related to the new stuff. But yeah. So the whole thing started with, why didn't we continue using what we already did? Like, we're using Overmind for the Code Sandbox client now, but when you work on a really, really big project with multiple people, there are certain things that gets challenging. And those things were related to testing and isolation. With Overmind and typically like global state management tools, you don't get that isolation. You kind of just bind everything together as it's naturally in your brain, and it becomes difficult to test it, and it becomes difficult to work on it well, I shouldn't say that. Overmind has some pretty good separations, but in terms of testing, it gets a bit tricky. So a way to deal with that is dependency injection. Dependency injection is really cool, and we wanted to explore. That's more right. We wanted to explore dependency injection to see if that could help us write more tests, because we don't have much testing. And then it's disposing. So this is very typical for global state management, is that you don't have any concept of disposing. So from React, you send some command up to your global state management to go and fetch some data or whatever, and it will just do that. There's no like cancellation of that when the component that asks for it unmounts, for example. Subscriptions, you don't really have any good place to put all the disposers. You kind of have to store them somewhere. And so on. There's no natural disposing mechanism. And then it's strict null checking. And strict null checking is such a hassle with single state trees, because the way you model your state. And I'll talk more about that. So what we decided to do was to embrace React, because React has become quite mature. In terms of dependency injection, you have context providers. And that is dependency injection. And in terms of disposing, we have use effect. So whenever a use effect callback returns the function, that function runs whenever the component unmounts, or in our case, like changes state. And then we have, for strict null checking, we're using use reducer with explicit states, which aids that. So at a high level, the way this works is that at the top of the application, I hate this zooming thing on Excalibur. Why is it so, like, it suddenly just reacts? It's as if I have to scroll a certain amount before it reacts, and then it scrolls a ton. It's so annoying. Anyways, so at the very top of the application, we have the environment provider, and it basically provides the environment. And in our project at Code Sandbox, we have a browser environment, we have a test environment, and we actually have a Next environment. We're running it on a Next.js app. And then throughout the application, we can mount features and UI components. And these feature components can use the environment, and then the UI components can use the features. But feature components can also use other features. So you can compose this together. And a UI component can use multiple features, of course. So from the perspective of using the environment, a feature would, for example, access the API, or like storage, or Monaco, like a code editor. Like everything that's considered like a side effect that you need to do something asynchronous with or subscribe to or whatever, that's part of the environment. And by doing this, we can very easily mock out the whole environment when we're doing testing. We can change the implementation for this interface running on the server side, for example, and so on. Then we'll skip that one. And then we use useEffect to dispose of asynchronous requests. So that means that automatically whenever like the user moves around in the actual UI, we'll automatically dispose of anything asynchronous happening. So we don't have to manually control that. That just happens naturally as the user interacts with the application, which is a huge benefit. And then we have used reducer that we use to deal with strict null checking. Well, it's not use reducer. Use reducer holds the state, but it's explicit states that deals with null checking. And a whole lot of other stuff that I'm not going to go into, but this is like part of the exploration. So traditionally, yeah, maybe I should like create a big X there or something. Boop, and then make that super thick, and let's make it red. So this is not what we're doing anymore. This is bad. So traditionally, you would model your state like you want to grab a sandbox, for example. You would model it as is loading boolean. The sandbox might be there, or it might be null. The arm is a string, or it might be null. The problem with this is that whenever this state is consumed in a component, we have to check all the time. Do we have a even though we know that we have a sandbox, we have to check always if we have a sandbox. But not only that, we have to check if we have a sandbox and we're like not loading or we don't have an error. Like there are 8 different variations of how this state structure, like this state model can look like. And the UI has to not only check what is there, but what is not there. And that is such a huge complexity. So with explicit states, you reduce those 8 variations down to 4. But not only that, you have one single property you need to check. It's the same property every time that you need to check to figure out what state are you actually in. So in this case, you're in unloaded, loading, loaded, and error. And only when you're in loaded, you actually have a sandbox. So you don't have these null checking problems. And the same for error. Only in error, you actually have an error. So what's really interesting about this is that this leads to even more benefits. It doesn't only solve strict null checking. It also allows us to do exhaustive matching in the UI, meaning that you don't like point to a single you don't like point to these single values. You don't check if you have a sandbox there or not. What you do is that you match on the whole on all the states, and then you say, what do I want to do in each state? And then what do I want to do in loaded state? I want to use the sandbox, and now the sandbox is there because you're doing it in the context of the loaded state. So that means that TypeScript helps us, first of all, to identify invalid use of state. And it also helps us with missing any use of state, meaning that if we were to introduce a 5th state here and a UI was matching on this reducer, it would yell like, you haven't handled this new state. And that's really important because that's often where bug comes from. You introduce something new and then you have some piece of UI not dealing with that new state. So another thing that's fundamental to this architecture is that traditional, let's use the X again. Thanks for helping me go through this, by the way. Like this is not how we want to do it. So what's also fundamentally changed here is that traditionally when we build our applications, we build them where the user and the environment drives the application forward. So the user clicks a button, they dispatch an action into the application, and the application will just execute a state change, and the application will change. Like the user decides how when the state should change. But that's also true for the environment. The environment also tells the application to do state changes, meaning that if you get like a response from a request, for example, that's dispatched into the application, and the application will change its state. That's how it's implemented. But in, maybe we should have like a V here as well. That's kind of cool. So this is the good one. Let's use that up here as well. So this is the bad one. That's the good one. So what we're fundamentally changing here is that the user and the environment can't tell the application to change its state. It rather says, I did this. That's what it tells the application. Not do this, but I did this. And then it's up to the application to choose what to do with that information. So in the case of our, I call this unloaded to make it fit. So in this case above, if the application is in an unloaded state and it gets an event from the user saying data requested, then it moves into a loading state and executes a request to the environment to go and grab that data. And when the environment sends a message back that the data has been fetched or the data had an error, then the application is designed to actually deal with those events when it's loading. And then it moves into either loaded or an error state. The point is that now we are filtering out everything. So when you're unloaded, any other event from the environment or the user is completely ignored. This is the only thing that is valid now for this application. And this is the only event that can drive the application forward. When we move to the loading state, it's the same. The only thing that can drive the application forward now is if we get a data fetched event or a data error event. If the user keeps sending data requested events here, like the user can do that, like technically, but it doesn't matter. Like it won't break the application. It won't drive the application forward in any kind of way. We have complete control of the experience. Yes, and then we have this React states csp.dev, which is a Git book that basically explains all the patterns, the best practices and conventions. It will have like a pull request guide, a PR review guide. It has reference implementations and also like mental models for how this works. And this is going to be our like a guide for new developers working at Code Sandbox on how to work with this application architecture. So it's basically more of an internal handbook put like open than React states being like a library. It just has a few utility functions. Okay, cool. That was nice to get through that. Oops. Let's see. Let's go in and actually do something. Yeah, so the thing I was kind of trying to convey yesterday that I wasn't able to do, this is kind of what I wanted to say. I like this mental model. I'm going to use it for the documentation as well. This is the most high-level mental shift. It's going from the user and the environment telling the application to move forward to just saying what it did. And then it's up to the application to decide if it should move forward. That's the most high-level mental shift of this architecture. And not like uniquely this architecture, but like using like state machines and stuff like that. That's like the high level mental shift you have to make. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at where we were. We were implementing, yes, so we were using events here instead. We have implemented it here. And we have implemented it here. Okay, so I guess we were done. Oh, were we done? Nice. So I guess we can go ahead and actually run this now, and then we can try to, oh, were we working here? Oh yeah, I think we were working here. So we have our auth feature where we're now subscribing to the authentication events. Oh, by the way, we're using a nice one in Code Sandbox. We're calling it session. And I really like that, because then you don't have duplicate auth. So we're going to do the same here. Let's call it session feature. And then we also have this new convention of just calling it, like from the inside of the feature, it's just a feature. We don't name it session this, session that. We rather separate it out. Maybe we can actually do this right now. So we'll create a new file called feature. And then we'll copy this over, and we're just going to call it context here, because we are inside the session feature, so we don't really have to I think maybe we should really call it session feature. Yeah, because you don't really, it's nice to see like what file is this. Yeah, I think we should do that. And then we call it UI event, because it's the events that can be triggered from the UI. And we just call it event here, which sounds a little bit scary, because that is a global type. But we haven't really met any issues with this, so and we'll just let it run for now. So we have context, and the hook is just use feature. So we just say feature all over here, and this would just be the reducer, and this would just be the feature. And I'll show you how we actually, so this would be feature reducer, and this would be feature reducer, feature. Yeah, so we're like, the thing is that it doesn't matter which feature you visit. Like you have the same types and the same variable naming, everything. You just on a higher abstraction, you're in a specific feature, but you don't have to like reparse all the variable names and everything. Those will be very familiar to you. Cool. So that's it. And then in the index file, we're actually going to import or export the feature as a session feature from session feature. And we're going to export use feature as use session. So here we actually like explicitly define the public API for this feature. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, and I think we can expose the user as well, I think. Yep, let's do that. And then we'll export the user as well. Oh, then I have... Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so we'll export a type from session feature. Yes, anyways, so let's just do the same thing for the dashboard feature. Let's what the hell is that? Oh, I guess we didn't refactor this one. Oh, how did I miss that? Anyways, let's do the, oh yeah, it was environment effects. The feature isn't done, so let's fix this as well. New file, dashboard feature. Oops. Rename to .tsx, and let's just remove all of these, and we'll fix everything here. Use session, and we don't need these two. So we have like, yeah, let's see. So we have type event. Well, let's type UI event. And I don't think we actually have any UI event yet. It's only internal stuff. So let's just call it, what do we actually call it? Oh, we didn't have a term for that yet. Shit, we have to come up with a term. Because now you have event, which is a combination of any UI events, any internal events, and any like usage of events from the environment. So we need, and there's no UI events here, but let's call it feature event. Feature event is internal events. So that would be, oh wait, we don't even have date. Yeah, we don't have any of this, actually. Interesting. Okay, we actually only have authentication because everything is based on the environment. And then we have, what do we call it? Storage event. So this feature consumes events from our authentication, from authentication and the storage. It doesn't really have its own, events yet. So we're going to say event, and we're going to rename this to just context. Cool. And then we have create hook. Oh, that's so annoying that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And this would be rename use feature. Oops, use feature. And this would be create reducer. And the create reducer uses the event, and actually, oh, this is interesting. So this doesn't actually have any events. So I guess we'll say never. Maybe something bad happens. We'll see. But we don't actually have any events for the UI to use. But okay, so instead of auth, why are you doing this to me? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Oh, there I can use it. Okay, so auth. So instead of using the old thing, I'm just using the event from our environment. So whenever we're authenticated, when we're awaiting authentication and we get an authenticated event, we are going to do this. But we don't have a family UID here. That's interesting. Is this something we did here? Oh, sorry. We get the user. Oh, sorry. We get the user, and the user has the family UID. There we go. And then we might be unauthenticated, which means that we want to do this thing. We want to say that we require authentication. We can remove these. Okay, so what's nice about this is that we actually removed a ton of events from the feature itself. So you're kind of funneling an event directly from the environment and into a feature. So you don't have these duplicate events. Yeah. And then when we're requiring authentication and we get authenticated, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to move into a loading state with the family ID. And when we're loading, so the data here, so let's see what we have here. We have storage, fetch family data success. That's the thing we're going to use. And here let's see. Here we have family data. Why do we have family? And we could just do, let's change that. I don't like that we put family data. The whole point is that we don't need to have, we can just do this. And then in the sandbox, where are we? Let's just put them directly on the event. So when we consume it here, where are we? Yeah, we actually have them there. So we can remove this one. So we get the groceries, tasks, and the week from our data success, and then we already have the family UID, which we also want to be available when we're loaded. So there we go. And then we have storage fetch family data error, and that's when we want to move into an error state. Cool. And when we're loaded, we're not doing anything, and error, we're not doing anything. So what we want to do here is to use the session, and this should be renamed to session. So let's see, what are we doing here now? We're saying when this dashboard feature mounts, we want to see oh, I'm a little bit dizzy. God damn. Verifying authentication, signing in, are authenticated, loading. What's missing here? What the hell are you complaining about? Oh, match off. Let's see, this should be match session. Wonder what this one is complaining about. Object may wanna and authenticated doesn't. Oh, doesn't it? Did I change something? Oh, I changed it to signed in and signed out. Signed in and signed out. Okay, cool. Yes. So when this dashboard, let's rename this to feature. When this dashboard mounts, we either use the initial context. This is what we do with testing and stuff. And if we don't have any initial context, we create it based on the current state of the session. So if we are verifying authentication on our session currently, we'll say that we are awaiting authentication in the dashboard. If we are actually signing in, there's a difference there. So when you load the app, you're awaiting authentication. It like does a direct check. And then if you actually click the sign in button, that's a different state. Like it does the same thing kinda under the hood, but it's actually two different flows. So we identify them as two different flows. And if it's an error, again, we'll await authentication. Because most likely when there's an error, we'll allow the user to try again. When you're signed in, we move into loading state. And when you're signed out, we move into the requiring authentication. So then our dashboard, let's see, let's rename this to feature reducer. I can't make up my mind here because, oh, where's the reducer? Because this is the actual reducer here, but use reducer kind of returns a reducer, but it's more like the consumption API of it. So yeah, I'm not sure what to call it actually. And here we'll rename it to feature. And now we're going to use our new hooks. So we're going to say use enter effect on the session. And when we're, I guess, signed in here, we have, oops, when we're signed in, we have the user. And then we want to do this thing. Oh, we don't need to do this anymore. Right? Because now, yeah, we don't need to do this. And this is nice. We don't need to do this or this or this. We can remove the whole thing. because now we're funneling the events directly from the session into the dashboard. So as you can see, it's just listening for it, directly from the authentication environment or environment effect. Awesome. Okay. So the only thing we really need to do is that when we move into use enter effect, when we move into the loading state, that's when we actually, and this is also going to be heavily simplified. Because with our new events system, we can just say, let's see, we need a family UID. We don't have this anymore. Get current weekday ID. Yeah, we're loading a week. And we're just pointing to storage. And we say fetch family data. We need the family UID and the week ID. But we don't have to do any of this. Like I said, we don't need to proxy information from the storage environment effect into the reducer. We just, we should use events. So we're going to use events from the session. Authentication. Authentication, where are you? We're going to use events from the authentication and pass it into the reducer, and we're going to use events from the storage and pass it into the reducer. Yeah, so as I said, we don't need any of this because everything related to fetching that family data, like we have now moved into a loading state and we expect one of two events. We are in the loading state, we expect one of two events. Storage fetch family data success or fetch family data error. The thing, a comment I got from actually Yves, founder of Code Sandbox, we have a lot of good conversations around like deep application architecture, like how to deal with asynchronicity and stuff. And he had a comment, which is definitely valid. So when you do this, how do you know that calling this thing will lead to either of these two events? There's nothing showing you that. Like it returns void, like nothing is telling you about this. It's something you either have to know or you have to go into fetch family data. And you have to go into the implementation and you have to kind of figure it out, which is perfectly valid. And I think that should be amended. It doesn't point to that it's the wrong solution, because as you see, you clean up the code so much, you increase testability, you improve the disposing. Like there's so many benefits to doing it this way that I really want to see if there's a way to amend this. And one idea I had about amending this is to use a comment. So when you implement, this is storage fetch family data, fetch family data, there we go. We use, fetches the family data. I do wonder, I wonder if it's possible to use async, alias, access, augments, author, borrows, callback, class, constant, constructor, copyright. There's so many things. Event. Interesting. I was hoping there was, so if I say storage, fetch family data success, how will this look like? What happens now? Yeah, let's look at what actually event is meant to be. Let's see. Use JStock event. The event tag allows you to document an event that can be fired. Yeah, exactly what we want. A typical event is represented by an object with a defined set of properties. Once you have used, do we have an example? Oh, fires. Hurl. Oh, this is interesting. How does this work? Why does it say fires? Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Let's explore this. Because I'm wondering if, can I do, does it understand this? That would be amazing. Where are we? Storage, fetch, family data. Can I like JSdock this thing? What happens now? So I would say this is the event hurl hash. Okay, let's just event hurl. Okay, I guess this is like a namespace. Storage. Okay, let's just do snowball. Let's just try it. I want to see if I can say fires, storage, snowball. Does this work? Oh, it's just, oh, I don't actually see. Yeah, I wonder. Let's try to move it. We have storage. So this, yeah, this is just type object. It would be super nice if this was automatically created from the. Maybe there's let's TS doc event. Documents, events triggered. Documents, events. Okay. Documents, events triggered by the subsequent method. But is there any example of this? Type doc? Is this something else? Anyways, let's try to explore this. So, event type. What did this look like? And you would say type object. Like, does this actually say anything now? That's what I'm wondering. No, it just says like fire, storage, snowball. It doesn't say like, it doesn't bind that data together. I wonder why write this? But yeah, JStock 3. This is okay, incorrect way. event type property. Correct way is to outside of the class. Okay, it's on the outside, and it is on the outside. Storage, snowball. Yeah, I'm not sure, but is it supposed to connect these two together? Yeah, that would be interesting. But anyways, it's possible to do. We can say fires storage. What was it? Fetch family data success. And we can say fires are. So if we do that, you know by looking at it what it does. That's pretty cool. And I think we should do that. I do wonder if there is a way to bind. Yeah. Let's search a little bit more. tsdoc event param. Typedoc, is that, or is it just JSdoc? Is TypeScript tsdoc the same? I thought there was a thing called tsdoc. There we are. Oh, interesting. Tag reference. Okay, here we go. Returns, throws. Is there like a fire? Event property. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have that same thing. Like it doesn't say this method fires off. Yeah, but anyways, this is a huge improvement. So that whenever you look at an environment effect interface, you see what events it's firing. So that basically means that, okay, these are the two events that can, so we move into the loading state. These are the two events that can happen. Make sure you actually deal with those. The thing is, it's still very decoupled, which means that you kind of have to look at this, then go up and actually implement it. And then, oh, what was the name of that event again? And you have to go back and hover to see it again. That's definitely not ideal. But again, it's like the overwhelming benefits to this, I think it's worth it. Yeah. I'll copy this and show it to Evis, and we'll see. And we'll see. Just 2 seconds. I'm just checking if someone is awake here. No, I'm up way too early. Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's do that now, and I won't implement all of them. I'll do that later, so you don't have to look at that, because that's boring. Let's rather export our feature as dashboard feature. Oh, I really hate. I really wish we did import dashboard as, and then you would, because then you would get also suggestions. Like we got that syntax wrong. In terms of TypeScript, we got that syntax wrong. That's for sure. I wish TypeScript would allow us to do it the other way around. Anyways, import feature, export feature as dashboard feature from dashboard feature. And then we're going to export use feature as use dashboard. Do we have any types we want to export here? Yeah, we want to export the grocery. Grocery is task, tasks, and week. So let's do that. Export type. Okay, let's do from dashboard feature. Groceries, grocery, task, tasks, and week. I could maybe just export everything. Yeah, like you might want to have access to the props for some reason. I don't know. Cool. So we're happy about this. Now let's look at our implementation and let's get this thing back up and running so we can continue on the UI. So let's see, we have our page container, which would be create authentication. Oh, did we put all of this into one thing? Oh yeah, sign-in model. Okay, authentication would be create authentication. Storage is still create storage. This would be use session. And this would just be sign in. We change that. And this would be signed out. This would be signed in. Cool. And this would be session feature. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I actually, yeah, let's add React states next. I actually fixed this. We don't have to do this check anymore. We can just add it. It will actually automatically the DevTools provider will include the DevTools manager, like the thing you see in the UI, on top of your app automatically now. And it deals with server-side rendering and actually suppresses any hydration warnings related to that. So it won't mount it on the server, but you won't get a hydration warning. So the check you would rather do here is if you're in production or not. Not if you're in the browser or not. All right, that didn't work. Already in use. Oh, I think I'm doing it here. Yeah, so let's see if this even works. Family. Oops. Oops. Let's take a look at these ones. Oh, why isn't this working? Used dashboard. My bad. Oh, here we are. I think we still have an issue though. Let's see, dashboard skeleton. Oh no, or did I? Let's see. What did I do in the sandbox? No, I should trigger unauthenticated. That's weird. And the let's see. Oh, verifying authentication. What did I do? Yeah, because like this is the skeleton. It just doesn't look like a skeleton now, and it's verifying authentication, which means that okay, on the dashboard did get yeah, it did get an unauthenticated, but why doesn't it show the model? Oh, I think maybe I removed it. No, DevTools session feature auth. No, it's not related to this. Where's the where are we using the sign-in model? Oh, here we are. Sign-in model. Auth. If we are signed out. What the hell? We're in verifying authentication. Why are we in verifying authentication? Oh, didn't I? Sorry. I don't think I set up the event subscription for this one. Yeah, I did. What the fudge? Why isn't it getting any events? What did I do? The dashboard is getting the events, and I have loaded the dashboard feature. Sorry, the session feature. I find this very, very weird. Oops. Maybe this is a bug. I haven't tested this that much. Maybe this is a bug because both of them are subscribing to the same thing. I didn't test that. Let's see. We'll have to dive into this and figure this out. I have a feeling it's a bug in the events thingy. Let's see. React states. So we are subscribing to the events. Great. We are pushing the listener. And when we emit for every subscription, we trigger the listener. So why is only the dashboard getting that event and not? Does it even get the event? What the fuck? Does it get any events? No. What's happening here? Oh. I'm stumped. Why is this one getting the events but the other one not? There's no difference. It's as if, like, what happens if I increase this to a second? Does it get it then? Oops. This is quite annoying. I have to fix that. No, like, I would like be very surprised if that had an effect. It feels like it doesn't register the event, or it overrides it, or something like that. So I have a feeling it's a bug in my implementation of this. So let's have a look. Oh, we need to register a little bit here, because we are emitting console.log, emitting event this.subscriptions. Use events, use effect. Should maybe this, it could be like, we don't, this effect should, yeah, this is one thing. It should have an array there. I don't think that matters for this implementation, but yeah, let's explore this a little bit. We have to figure out what I did wrong here. Yeah. Oh, now, now I got the what the fuck. Oh. Was it? Was this just okay. Was this? Oh, that's scary. Like, that's super, super scary. If this was just me restarting it. Oh. What the hell happened there? Like, this is what's so scary about Vite and Next, is the caching they have. I've experienced so many times that the application is actually working, but I have to delete the cache. It's because the way I rename files and stuff, it just happens to hit a cache it's not supposed to. And that scares me. That scares me a lot. It does. So there was actually nothing wrong here. Yeah, it's like if you ever rename a file or move a file, you have to like restart the development flow or delete the cache, or what the hell happened here? I have no idea what happened here. Oh, maybe it was using a cached version of React states or something. That could have been. This is scary. I don't like this. Anyways, it was working all the time. And as we can see here, it's verifying authentication. And then it's signed out. Cool. But why doesn't it show the event? Why doesn't it show? This is, yeah, we have, I have to fix that as well. This dev tool is quite buggy. I haven't given it as much love and attention as it should. I want to know why the event doesn't pop up there. I'm sorry about this. Like, we should really continue with the app, but we get stuck in these things all the time, and it's basically to improve the tool. Like, why didn't it register? Did the dev tool actually get the event? It just didn't put it in the right place. Let's inspect. So this is the DevTools manager. And this is the DevTools manager. On message, it's called dispatch. This is how it builds up the history. So what I would like to do, yeah, so whenever we, let's see, just to take you through how it works. when we use DevTools, what we do is that we replace the dispatch in the reducer with our own custom one. And then we dispatch the event as normal, and we say that we debug trigger transitions. Oh yeah, this is a custom event. So whenever we send, in this case, the unauthenticated event into the reducer, it should be intercepted here, and we should see it. Dispatch, do I have like, oh yeah, I have the ID, nice. ID, dispatch, event. So let's try that, and let's see if it actually pops up. Building DevTools is hard. Like, you want to introduce hooks, because you need hooks in your public API. Yeah, you see this? It's the dashboard. It doesn't register at all, as if, oh. Yeah, that's funny. So let's look at our session feature. Oh, this is it. My bad. But that's good to know. Use DevTools has to be used first before you do the destructuring, because we were referencing the old dispatcher. Note to self, this has to be documented. So this was actually also always working. But now we see the flow. Both of these, dashboard was awaiting authentication. The auth, oh, this should be called session. I really hate that. Wonder why fast refresh doesn't work. Sorry, this looks like shit. The session is signed out. Dashboard is requiring authentication. This is what we want. We click, it signs in, it moves into a loading state and then into a loaded state using these events. Okay, sorry for the hiccups there, but at least now we are back in business. And this is the UI that we're going to turn into a skeleton. And we are well on our way doing that. But I kinda, let me check if I have to go. We're so into it now. Yeah, Evis hasn't, like, people aren't awake. Like, I'm up at 6 in the morning. And like with a family, you kind of have to do that. And then when you have young colleagues, they go to work at like 10. I'm just going to send one message. I am doing the stream in a flow. Explored some stuff as well with the architecture, mostly documentation related. Let me know if you want help with something and I will drop off. Cool. So what we'll do is that at least we'll try to get this into a skeleton mode. It looks kind of like a skeleton. So we have our dashboard skeleton, and what we were looking at is this thing. Let's see. So let's remove the sum action stuff. Yeah, I guess we don't actually need this part at all. Well, we can keep the, no, that was wrong. There we go. What's this thing? Is that that thing? Pointer events. Yeah, that was that thing. We don't need that. But we do want to keep the icon. Cool. And then we want another one of these. Okay, let's move this stuff way down here. like that. And where did our actions panel? Okay, so we want another one of these. This is like grid calls 1, call span 2, quick links, h2 class name, quick links. What the hell? Where's this? I can't see this. Oh, screen reader only. Ah, this is interesting. Anyways, here it is. Blah blah blah. We want another one of these, I think. So what happens if I do this? Yay, we got another one. But now we want rounded top left. We don't want that one. We don't want rounded top right either. Cool. Does it have rounded bottom left? Does it have any more rounded? Oh, shouldn't. Yeah, anyways. And then we'll have another one. We'll move these into actual components, I think. What should this be? Oh, it's bottom left. Oh, yeah. So now it should be top right. No, fuck. Top left. Top right. I don't understand this. Top right? Isn't that here? Rounded. Top right. Top left. I don't understand this. Why is it? Shouldn't this be bottom left? Yeah, and that one shouldn't have anything, and this one should have top right, bottom right. Yeah, this looks good. And then we have another row of these. We should have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, we're going to have 9 of these. Let's open our overview. What terminal? I just used like, you mean the actual terminal? I don't have any. I think I don't remember. I'm using what's it called? But yeah, I don't spend much time pimping up my terminal. I don't use it that much actually. Where the hell is our app? Oh, so many Excalidraws. Where's our little app? There it is. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Here I have 4, but I wanted to change it to be like 9, I think. Because, yeah, it will fit better with this. It just seems that it fits better on an iPad. So let's try that. Does this just work now? If I add another one, what happens now? Oh. Yeah, exactly. So that means that this one shouldn't have a bottom left thing. Nice. This one shouldn't either, actually. And then we have the same as one in the middle here. Maybe we should move this to an actual component now, because this is getting unwieldy. Yeah, and this, yeah, none of these should really have. I wonder how I would express this. Cool. let's see. I'll just have to check if I'm getting any messages here. Cool. Okay, we're good. We'll keep going until 10 because we got so much nice progress, so I'm happy about that. Where were we? Yes, let's see if we don't need this one, so let's call this like a weekday, I guess. And we're going to copy what we just did here. So this is a weekday. The thing is, how do we indicate? Should we... What should we do? We need a prop. And that prop would be... I think we should just allow extending the class name. That makes the most sense, I think. So we say class name, and it's like optional. And we say class name is of type string. And we'll do droop. Oh, sorry. We'll do this. And we'll do class name like that. So now we have a weekday. So we're not like bound to anything now. Well, I guess we want to pass in like the color and stuff. The, like component composition is and related to props is such. It's really, really difficult to do. But let's do it one at a time here. So we can just extend it later. Where are we? So we are on weekday, and this one should have rounded. Oh, this one should have top left rounded. So let's move this into a weekday. Oops, and it should look exactly the same. Nice. Okay, and then we have another weekday, which doesn't have any class name. Another. No, do I actually have to explicitly set it as optional? I didn't know that. Class name would be an. Oh, you actually do. Oh, it's because I'm calling it top right LG. Cool. That's nice. Okay, so let's remove all of these so that we clean up a little bit. And this would be weekday, weekday, weekday. And then we have the same, only that we're going to have bottom left, bottom right. How does this look? That didn't look good, did it? Oh, sorry. There we go. This looks good. Okay, so these are our weekdays. Well, the last one is actually future events. So you have like Monday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Wait, 1, 2. Oh. No, wait, what did I intend to do here? How did I imagine this? I can't remember. Oh my god, my brain is such a mess. Yeah, I guess this last one can cover two. So this, like, we do want the last one to look different because it's the event. So I'm thinking maybe maybe we can just make that like too wide. Like how would we do that? So to make it like span. Can we do that? like span 2. How do you do that with Flexbox? Like, I don't know. Flex, tailwind, like flex. Yeah, it's flex grow, right? No. Yeah, it is. Flex grow. No, this is a grid. Grid. Column, start, end. Does it already have that? Can I like override this so that it takes up? I think I can do that. Yeah, cool span. That's the thing I'm looking for, I think. Cool span 2. Does that work? Yeah, we have to remove one of them. OMG. It wasn't... that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so these are the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 days in a week, and then we have the events. So let's go to hero icons and let's find a calendar. Oh, it's called calendar. We can just copy the SVG. So this had, oh, we actually have icons here. Nice. Calendar icon. So let's do that. And I guess, yeah, so now we're getting into it, right? This is not a weekday anymore. So I think in this case, we're actually going to copy it. We're just going to inline it, and let's keep this stuff. What did I do? What did I do? For frick's sake. Oh, I didn't put that in there. In with that thing. This actually looks decent, which is a surprise to me. Like I've never made anything decent in terms of UI. And then we use calendar icon. How does this look? OMG. OMG. And this is going to be like red. Red. Cool. Okay, so we have each day. I wonder if there's like a day. Maybe we can find a different icon for this. Like day, sun. I don't know if that's the right icon. What represents like a day? Maybe we can highlight it, that it's like people, person, organization. Ah, that sucks. There's nothing like people related. Well, I'm not going to sit there and look at icons all day. So let's just do this later. It's not important now. What is important though is that we want to name the day. So let's see if we can actually shove something in here. We have this clock icon, and next to the clock icon, we actually want hello. Okay. Can we say h4 hello? No. And then, but if we say class name flex, okay, and then align items, no, items center. All right. I feel like a pro. So we have hello, and I guess maybe we could do like, oh, class name text teal 700 here as well. Like I'm so bad at design, but at least, yeah. Another question is like, how do we bump this a little bit? Should we just use like a margin left? That's what I do. Margin ML2. Oh my god, I love this. Okay, so weekday, we have to pass in a weekday. Weekday and weekday is a string. Oh, cool. And let's see here now. This is weekday Monday. And we have Tuesday, and we have, what's it called? Wednesday. We also have Thursday. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Armando. Hi, by the way. Long time no see. Yeah, it's really interesting how this architecture has evolved, and it's not like there's nothing novel about it, like in terms of technical implementation, but it's just putting all the pieces together, which I think we lack quite a bit of. Like you see, even with Next.js, and even like, I haven't looked at Remix Run. Is it called Remix Run or Remix? I guess they are the first ones who really, well, I guess you could say Angular as well. Angular also tries to like really tell you best practices, how, like they have dependency injection, how to do testing, everything's inside the framework. But for example, Vue is all about, well, the Vue really. And they do have some state management solutions, but they don't have like, this is how you build the app. And I think we need more of that, because building apps is super, super difficult, and there's way more complexity than just state management. So it's nice to talk about this. Oh, look at this. Beautiful. Now, the thing is, skeletons doesn't have colors. So what we need to do here, let's just make this, is it gray? Yeah, let's just gray this stuff out, and we'll make it like, look at this, 450. Gray 400, oops, and gray 50. We'll see later how we can reuse everything. But this is really starting to look like a skeleton. That's nice. Okay. One thing I haven't figured out yet is I want this to grow as much as possible. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So this is minimum the height screen. I think we should just say height screen, because we don't want this to be scrollable. And then we have this announcements, recent hires. Well, this isn't the left column anymore. Okay, so we have a grid here. Can I say like H1, age? I can't say. Oh, age full? No, that didn't do anything. Where is the thing that's not taking up the whole thing? So the section is now taking up, oh, so I don't need this. The section is taking up the whole height. It's this thing after the section, this thing. Age full, if I do this. No. Oh. Oh, did I need it here as well? There we go. Nice. I feel like I have superpowers. Yeah, exactly. Reducers meet statement. Like the reducer is the perfect abstraction to implement a state machine. It's just it's really, really interesting to me that reducers are super powerful, but they are very low level. And so the thing, like the way the reducer operates within can be like abstracted. And a state machine is one way to do that. And I guess there's other abstractions that you can use as well. Maybe you can like, I thought about this thing where you actually express declaratively a certain flow of events, for example, that needs to happen, which is kind of like a state machine, but the state machine is like state, event, new state, state, event, new state. While you could say like, okay, I want these events, when these events happen in order, do move to this state. When these events kind of, I don't know. But no matter, it's like my point really with the initial video explaining React states was to basically say like you don't need a library for this. You just need, the only thing you need is this function. If you write this function transition, so you have like state, action, like I'm using, we're calling it context and send in React states just because of the mind shift. But if you just do this, state, action, transitions, action type, if you have it, then call it with the action and the current state. If not, return the state. That's the whole thing. Now you can do use reducer and you can say state, action, transition the state with this action. And now you can say foo, I want, if we get a switch event, I want to move into bar, for example. And then with bar, and we get the switch, I want to move into state foo. That's it. You have a state machine. Yeah, it's super lightweight. And it's not much more you actually need. Like the thing you need to put on top of this is like, how do you do, this is only the state transitions, but then it's like, what about the transition effects? So you want to do something. In, for example, X state, you actually tie that into the declarative representation. Let's do dispatch. But you don't have to do that. You can just use a use effect. So use effect. So whenever the state changes, you say if state. Well, this I'm actually calling it. Oh, sorry. This should be state.state. Sorry about that. State.state. Like that. Let's see. Let's make this better. There we go. So the only thing you need to do is like if state equals foo, well then let's trigger something. And then you will dispatch a new action. But anyways, like that's the basic, and then you kind of build from there. Yeah, so that's what we've kind of done with React states, is that we're putting, we're creating some convenience utilities to do these transitions. But at its core, like it's super, super tiny. At its core, it's just use reducer and use effect that we are, using explicit states basically. So it's this balance of, okay, we want to show how simple it is, like we're just using React primitives, but at the same time you do want some convenience things. So yeah, we're trying to find that balance. Anyways, so this is our skeleton that we're trying to create. So basically what we want now is this shopping list. And we're sure, let's see, I just have to see if someone's waiting for me. For the streaming. Adding new parameter. You wrote to pass the access token around. Oh. And we just iterate. That's awesome. Awesome. We're having a demo today, which is going to be super interesting. Okay, yeah. Someone needs my assistance. Well, that sounds like, oh, I'm so important. Someone needs my assistance. I mean, someone would like to talk to me. But let's do one final thing before I go. We're going to remove recent tires because this should be like, oh yeah, the reason I kept both of them, well, let's keep recent tires, I think, because it has this button. Yeah, and we have like an icon here, which is going to be like a grocery and stuff. Cool. So let's do that. Recent. Let's remove announcements like that. And for some reason, this is no longer taking up the whole gap 4 grid calls. Oh yeah, I guess this is main 3-column grid. This is, yeah, maybe we can look at this later. I'm not sure why this is not taking up all the space, but it should. But anyways, we're gotten pretty far. So let's fix the rest of the skeleton next time, and then we can start. Yeah, let's remove the footer. Sorry, Tailwind. Okay, cool. I'll stop the stream for now, and then we'll talk more on, well, I guess Monday then, and then we should have the skeleton done, and we can actually start implementing some, like we have our environment effect is defined, we have subscriptions on everything, we have our features, so we can basically just start populating the UI with data, which is nice. Cool. Okay, that's it for now. Bye bye.